Hi, everybody. Well, we had a super Zoom chat this morning, didn't we? Great fun. And as I told you, the maths video that I'd made was too big to go onto the dojo site. So I'm going to start recording them onto YouTube files because I just can't do them on Zoom. They won't go on. We can't have longer than 8 minutes, and that's too short. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you quickly, though, and this is on a Zoom recording, so I'm going to have to keep it quite quick. I'm going to explain what we're doing today in maths. Okay, first of all, I want to explain to you how to do the very top bit of the maths, which is multiplying by 100. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to start off with, there we go. Now I'm not doing a slideshow because I want to move things around. So there's our date today, the 2nd of the 2nd, 21, 2221. Don't get many dates like that. And next year, there'll be a 2222. Ah, fantastic. And there's our Roman numerals date. And here we are, our learning objective. We are today multiplying a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number. And we're using a formal written method. That might be our grid, or it might be using our place value. So as I said, first of all, let's have a little look at multiplying by 10 and 100, because we need these two skills. Okay. When we are multiplying by 10, what happens to the number? So you can write down this answer straight away. You write down that answer, please, and we will see if you're right. So 24 times 10, write down the answer. Tell me what it is. Not going to tell you my answer just yet. So I know that I've got to make each of these place value units 10 times bigger. Okay, so I know that 1 times 10 is 10. So I can make all of those ones 10 times bigger by popping them. Instead of the ones, I'm going to put a 10 there instead. So I've made each of those ones 10 times bigger. 10 times 1 is 10. So I put a 10 rod there. And to make these 10s 10 times bigger, 10 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 10 times 10 is 100. So there we are. I put hundreds into that column instead of tens because I've made them 10 times bigger. Now they're not in the right column. I need to put them in the correct columns. So let's put my hundreds in my hundreds column and my tens in my tens column. Now I'm ready to look at my answer. Okay, let's write my answer in up here. I've got 2 and 4. So my answer, it is not 24. This is the important part. We have to put a placeholder 0 in, and that's going to come out really, really tiny. Let's see if I can make that way bigger. I have to put a 0 in the ones column because there's nothing there. And I must record that in my answer as well. That's 240. Now have a look at the beginning and have a look at the end. When we multiply by 10, our digits move along. Okay, so I'm just going to stop sharing that for a moment and show you what that looks like on here. Okay, so 24 times 10. Let's use a hundreds, tens, and ones chart. And let's write 24. Okay, now we're going to multiply it by 10. And I'm sorry I go dark when I've got this on. I don't know why that happens. It just does. Okay, so I'm going to multiply it by 10. And I know that answer. Just done it. I know the answer is 240. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what's happened to the digits. Now the 2 has moved 1 place to the left. It's moved into the bigger tens column, okay, the bigger place value column. Okay, so it's gone from tens to hundreds. It's moved up. I've multiplied by 10 and it's moved 1 place. The 4 has moved 1 place to the left. It's gone from the ones to the tens. It's moved one place up. And then I've put my place value 0 in, because if I don't, it looks like 24. Okay, so when I multiply by 10, I must have, and if I'm not looking at the board, it's really hard to write. So I'm going to look at the board. Okay, so there's multiplying by 10. We move each of the digits one place to the left. We slide them along. Okay, now then, what about multiplying by 100? Let's go back onto my screen share and have a look at that. Okay, so next slide. We are going to multiply the same number, 24, but we're going to multiply it by 100 this time. Now, each of these ones, 1 multiplied by 100 is 100. So we've got 100, 200s, 300s, 400s. Each of those ones has been multiplied by 100 and has become 100. And 10 times 100 is 10 hundreds. Okay, so that's 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. So each of those tens, when we multiply it by 100, becomes 1,000. It becomes way, way, way bigger. So I've multiplied everything by 100, but it's now in the wrong columns. So let's shift it along, not one place, 2 places. This time, move it not one place, 2 places, because those thousands have to go under the 1,000 place heading. And so do our hundreds. They move one place, 2 places, 1 place, 2 places, 1 place, 2 places, because they have to go under the hundreds column. Now, I need to remember, let's make that bigger, and let's make that bigger. I need to remember that if there's nothing in a column, if there's nothing in any of these columns, I must have a 0 there, or else it looks like, here we go, 2, 4. It is not 24. I have to remember to put a 0 in the tens column and a 0 in the ones column. So 24 times 100 is 2,400. Okay, so we have, look at the 24 and look at the 2,400. Can you see the link between those two? We have moved the digits along. Okay, so if I stop sharing and show you on my board, okay, and this time I need a thousands there. I'm going to have an extra column. So I'm going to need thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, so there's my place value headings. And I started off with 24 in my place value. And then I multiplied it by 10. And I know that I made 2,400. So I'm going to write my 2,400, because what I want to do is I want to look at what happened, and I'm going to change color of pens here to show you. I want to look at what happened to the digits when I multiplied them by 100, okay? So this time, instead of just going one place, my 2 went 2 places along. So it moved 2 place value headings along, because I'm multiplying by 100, not 10. And my 4 also moved 1, 2, I'm going to have to do a little wiggle, oops, 2 places along. I'm sure I could have done that better if I'd gone underneath. There we go, it's moved 2 places along. Let's get rid of my wiggle. There we go. Much better if I do it underneath. So my 4 has moved 2 places as well. And because my 2 digits had moved along, I put a place value in the 2 place value headings that now had nothing in them. Okay, because if I leave them with no 0 there, it looks like 24. I must have my place value holders. Okay, there. All right. Okay, and that's how to multiply by 100. Move the digits 2 places along. All right, so let's have a look at one of our 3-digit by 1-digit multiplications. So let's start off by looking at the numbers we're going to use. We're going to use 432 multiplied by 5. That's going to be our question each time, okay? So straight away, I've, in my head, or I can write it out if I want, I've partitioned that into the hundreds and the tens and the ones. Okay, so 432, and that will help me when I'm multiplying. Okay, now the first way of doing this is using the grid method. So I'm going to put my board sideways, and no, I won't, because you won't be able to see me. Okay, let's keep it that way. And I'm going to draw myself a place value board. Now, please do this with a ruler. I'm doing it with my imaginary ruler. But remember, I've been drawing place value multiplication grids for a very, very, very long time. Okay. So this time I need 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, because the first one is just for my times. Okay, that's why I need 4 of them. Even though it's only a 3-digit number, I've got to write the 4 in there. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got to write the multiplication in there. And then I've got to put my partitioned number in. So although it's 432 multiplied by 5, I've got to split that up into the place value. I've got to partition it here when I'm putting it up here. So let's stick with the same colors as we used on our chart here. So 400 and green for the 30 and red for the 2. Okay, and I just keep, for the number I'm multiplying it by, I'm just going to keep the black. Okay, so I don't confuse myself. All right, now I'm going to come off screen share to show you how to do this. All right, so just the same as you did when it was 2 digits by 2 digits, I'm going to start off by multiplying the first bit. I always start with the first bit here. Because if I start over there, I'm coming backwards on myself. All right, so I'm going to do 5 times 400. And as we've just seen, we need to work out the answer, and then we need to make it 100 times bigger. So 5 times 4, we know straight away from our tables, is 20. Okay, but I'm not going to write down just 20. I'm going to move each of those digits 2 places to the left. Okay, so my number will be 200. Look, it's still 20. I have to put those placeholder zeros in. Okay, so 5 times 400 is 2000. Okay, there's my number. There's my 20. And that shows that I've moved it 2 places to the left there. Those 2 zeros show I've moved it 2 places to the left. 5 times 30, well, we did that kind of thing yesterday. 5 times 3 is 15. And my 0 shows that I've moved it 1 place to the left because I'm multiplying by 10 this time. And no problem with 5 times 2. Okay. Now, a couple of you left it like that, but that's not going to give me my answer, and I must write my answer in. And what you need to do, which is what most of you did, is add these 3 bits together. Okay, so I need to add together 2,000 and 150 and 10. Okay, so I need to do an addition sum in order to work out the final answer. Okay, so I have to add all those bits together. Now, we can do that very quickly. 0, 0, 0 is 0. 5 and 1 is 6. 1 and 2. So my answer is 2,160. Okay, so that is using the grid method. Okay, but a lot of you used well, I told you to use the longer method, and that's using hundreds, tens, and units, hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, so when I did the video last night, the reason it took so long is because I wrote it out the full way, okay, which is what I showed you yesterday as well. So I wrote the 432 and I multiplied it by 5. Okay, made sure I had enough place value headings at the top because I knew that this was going to go into the thousands. Okay, and I could make an estimate here that because 5 times 400 is 2,000. So I know that this answer is going to be somewhere around 2,000. Okay, I make that estimate. All right. So then I wrote out my first part of the question, which was 5 times 2. Okay, so I multiplied the ones first. And 5 times 2 is 10. So I wrote that carefully underneath my place value headings. Then I looked at my tens number and I did 5 times 30 because that 3 is not 3, it's 3 tens. Okay, so it's 30. So I did 5 times 30 and that answer is 150. Okay, so 5 times 3 is 15, but I moved the digits along one place and put the 0 in there. Okay. Then I looked at the hundreds number and I did 5 times 400. Okay, because 4 in the hundreds column is 400. So I know that 5 times 4 is 20. So I move the 20 2 places along, put 2 placeholder zeros in, and I made 2,000. Then to finish that off, I added them all together and I wrote my answer there. And luckily, that was the same answer that I got on doing it in the grid method. And not only that is, it's very close to my estimate. I worked out my estimate by saying 5 times 400. Okay, so I rounded this number to 400. And I know that 5 times 400 is 2,000. And 2,160, if I rounded that to the nearest thousand, that would be 2,000. So I know that that's a pretty sensible answer. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that. Now, a lot of you didn't do it like that. Yesterday, when you did your multiplying by 2 digits by 1 digit, you must have been shown last year a different way. So I'm going to show you that way when we're multiplying by 3 digits by 1 digit. Okay, so what you did, and here we go, you need to write a place value headings which has thousands in it. Okay, even though you're only doing hundreds times 1 digit, 3 digits times one digit. And our number was 432. So I write that first of all, and then I'm multiplying by 5. Okay, so this is a multiplication question. So I'm multiplying by 5. Now, a little bit like addition, I'm going to draw the second line underneath. Okay, because that's what a lot of you did. Remember, you need to write the multiplication sign because this at the moment looks like an addition. And it would be too easy to think, I recognize this, I'm going to do that addition. And it's not an addition. Okay, so what you did is you said 5 times 2 is 10. And just like when we're doing additions, I'm going to write 10 like that. Okay, I'm going to put my 10 in the tens column and the 0 in the ones column, and now I've made 10 there. Okay, just like we do when we're doing addition. So basically I've exchanged my tens ones for a 10. Okay, then you did 5 times 30. You knew that that was 150, or you're saying to yourself in your head, which is better, 5 times 3 tens is 15 tens. add that 10 on the bottom is 16 tens. So I'm going to write my 16 tens like that. I'm going to exchange the 10 tens for 100. So 1 goes under the hundreds column. And if you look, there's your 16, okay? Then you said, and this, you didn't say this because we didn't have 3 digits, but we do today. Then you said 5 times 4 hundreds is 20 hundreds. So 5 times 4 hundreds is 20 hundreds. Going to add that 100 on to make 21 hundreds. So to write 21 hundreds, I write 21 hundreds. So I have exchanged 10 of those hundreds for 2000s. Okay. So there's nothing else to add up in my thousands column. So I don't forget that it's down there, and I write it straight into my thousands column. Okay. So by using exchanging, you can work out a multiplication sum much quicker than you can if you write it using all the multiplications. Okay, that's a much tidier way of doing it. But I wanted you to see the other way, so you get in your head the idea that we are not multiplying 5 by 3, we're multiplying 5 by 3 tens, which is 30. Okay, but if you want to do it like that, that's fine. Now, for the first questions on your sheet, I have asked you to show me 2 ways of working out each of the questions, not just one way. Okay. And the first questions are about multiplying by 100. But then the next questions, I've asked you to do it both ways. So there are 3 questions, and I want to see the grid, and I want to see the thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones way. From then on, you've got 2 word questions, and then some more to work out at the bottom, some more questions to work out. And I want you to choose. You can choose which way. And I bet you all choose the hundreds, tens, and units way of doing it. But use the grid as well, because the grid can be really useful when you get to doing bigger numbers. Okay, can be really, really useful. I use it sometimes even now. Okay, so have a go at your sheet, please. Any problems, send me a message, and photograph it. Don't video it. Photograph it and send it in to me. Okay, thank you very much, and enjoy your maths. And let's hope that this video will go on to our Class Dojo site, because if not, I'm going to go crazy. Okay, bye-bye.